Paul, Boreham Wood on Saturday. Obviously, what are you expecting there?
Tough game. They're a side that's got a ton of National League experience. Physical team, great setup, pitch is beautiful by all accounts. So we know we're going to be in for a proper test.
And you've obviously got a sequence of games coming up now, which could be hugely significant over the next few weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, away to Boreham Wood, home to Western League leaders on Tuesday, and then a very, very tricky game away to Enfield. So we've got three big games coming up in the next week.
Obviously, you've brought in a few new faces. How happy are you with your squad as it's looking at the moment?
Yeah, happy. They've settled in really well. I think they've brought a little bit of quality to the squad. Players that I've been chasing for a while. Been patient and managed to get them through the door. And as always, we're always looking to strengthen in every single area. So, part of football is that players come in, players go out. It's just the nature of the beast.
Injury-wise, how are you looking for Saturday?
Yeah, we're good. It's only Krask. It's only Finn that's out. Other than that, the same as every other manager. We've got a couple of niggles, a couple of knocks, but we're fully fit other than Finn Krask.
Thank you, Paul.
No problem.
We were talking before we came in here about Truro's disallowed goal on Saturday and the circumstances around how it got disallowed.
Yeah.
Just be interested in your take on that. It looked to us as if it kind of depended on James Hammond to go and protest before the ref and linesman took any action.
I think you're spot on.
That's really weird though, isn't it?
No, I think as a squad, I think we're a little bit too nice. So I was happy that Hammy done that.
Yeah.
I understand Truro's point of view that they thought it was a goal. Exactly the same as the Chelmsford goal.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually think our disallowed goal against Chelmsford was more glaring. There was more Truro bodies in front of Hammy. Would Hammy have saved it?
No.
Don't think so. So I understand their frustration.
Yeah. But what I was getting at as being weird was the decision-making process that, in the old days, the linesman would put his flag up, the ref would go over and say what was wrong with that.
Yeah.
The linesman would say 2 players offside, goal disallowed.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen that way.
No, it didn't happen that way. So Hammy went over and fought his corner, shall we say. Our goal disallowed against Chelmsford, not one of our players went over and fought our corner. Bit nice.
Just a different approach.
Bit too nice. Yeah.
You might not want to comment on this, but should referees and assistants not just be getting it right first time? It shouldn't be based on whether people protest, should it?
No. But it is, at times. I get what you're saying, Clive. But then we speak about it a lot, don't we? Human error, right? There will always be human error from officials, from managers, from players. Every day in every walk of life, people will make mistakes. So the mistakes will happen. I get that. Man United were the best at it, weren't they? Getting around the referee and I don't know. It's part of football, I think. Arsenal, when they had that amazing team under Wenger, they weren't backwards and coming forwards, were they?
You've been instructed by referees at referees meetings that things like only the captain is supposed to go and do what everybody's doing. That's been instructions to you, isn't it? In the summer, only the captain will speak to the referee.
The captain or the manager, but then
quite. And then
I've been banned.
In the heat,
so it's
in the heat of the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. It's one of those conversations I think people like yourselves and managers will be having for years to come. I don't think it's never going to be a perfect way of doing it, unfortunately.
But going back to the point that you made, you're happy that James went and made his point
absolutely
to the referee because you want to see more of that from
absolutely. But what I will say, Rich, I think he made his point strongly.
Yeah.
He didn't swear. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't flailing his arms about. So I think Hammy done it in the right manner. I think I understand Truro's frustration because we've been there, and I was pleased Hammy went over.
I think we were all talking outside about the fact that Truro frustrated, yes. At the end of the day, the right decision was come to. It was just an odd process of the way how it got there.
Yeah. Well, I got to be honest. I was obviously sat in the stands,
course you will,
and
yeah.
when it went in, I got the ump and went in, so I didn't even know it's disallowed. So that's my viewpoint on it.
It was just before half time, wasn't it?
One of the stewards in the tunnel said it's all right, ball's been disallowed. It was made up. So,
You during the course of last Saturday, yeah, you get confused, don't you? What game's playing? You changed formation a little bit during the course of the game. Is that something that you wanted to do on Saturday, or did it come out of the way the game was going and you wanted to try a bit more? Are you a formations man, or are you a little bit more old school in what's in front of you, get that right, and all that sort of stuff?
we changed shape at half time. You're
Yeah.
quite right, and I think it affected the game. Sometimes you change shape and it doesn't affect the game. Am I a formations man? We spoke before that I'm known for playing 3-5-2, but a 3-5-2 formation can be very, very fluid. You know, it's can be ultra defensive, can be ultra attacking, depending on the personnel you've got playing it. And as for, you know, as you say, being old school, I just think football's football, Dave, and I don't think there is a new school or an old school. I think there's sometimes certain games don't come down to formation. Sometimes tactically you can win a game, but I think ultimately most games you lose will be down to you making a mistake or the team not playing particularly well. So if you're 4-4-2 against a 3-5-2 or 4-3-3 or 4 diamond 2 or a box midfield now, whatever formation you want to call it, if you don't do the fundamentals right, you're not going to win the game anyway. And I think it's formations within formations. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, I try not to play a rigid formation. Try.
Do you think there's an element of people overthinking tactics, formations, and that sort of thing, and losing
all I
sight
ever
of the
do.
basics?
No, I think I think so. I definitely think there's an element of you have to do your due diligence on the opposition you're playing. You have to, because it's very lazy to not, especially with opposition games being so accessible now. But you can definitely worry too much about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's an element of we're playing 4-4-2, but we're playing against a 4-4-2 on Saturday. Maybe a 4-3-3 can hurt them in these. I think you got to stick to your beliefs, you know. And am I a rigid, straight down the line 3-5-2? No. I've played loads of different formations. I think you got to worry about yourself first and foremost, definitely, and respect the opposition. Of course you do, but you know, if you do what you do well, then I just think you got half a chance in the game.
Another thing I was going to ask you more generally, with Boreham Wood 9th in the table, they're 9th at the moment, 9th in the table, and Weston-super-Mare top. Have you been surprised this season that some of the teams that people fancied before are struggling a little bit, and some teams that people didn't fancy are going really well? It's a really open league, isn't it?
It's a very open league, and I think if you had to pick someone now who you think would go on and win it, I think there'd be a lot of different opinions. I think that would divide opinions, definitely. I'm not surprised that teams that are doing well, and to be honest with you, I'm not surprised that at teams that aren't doing quite as well as people thought they would have. I think it's a tough league. I think it's very, very equal this year. I think last year Yeovil were by far and away the best team. They were a bit of a runaway train, and deservedly, you know, were the best team by a mile, in my opinion. It is a tight league this year. I mean, Boreham Wood were the strong favourites to win the league, and who's saying they won't? It's still, we're not halfway yet. You know, you've only got to go and win a few games on the trot, and you'll be right up there. They're a strong team, definitely, and you know, they're well managed. They got a way of playing. We'll be in for as tough an away game as we got all season, I think.
Great.
Talking about you sitting in the stands earlier on, did that give you a different perspective?
Yeah, it's easy sat up there, isn't it? You can see why fans get the ump sometimes. It did give me a different perspective. It wasn't particularly enjoyable. I'm not great at that, but I actually learned quite a bit. Yeah, and I think you're quite right.
And did Neil enjoy his moment in the spotlight?
I think he did. I think he did. Yeah. was great because he got some.
You only heard about it last minute, didn't you? Really?
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing. Yeah, I didn't know. I remember you said last week, Clive, didn't you? I was banned, and I said to you nothing had come through. It didn't come through until Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit strange, really. But it's what it is. I should keep my mouth shut.
Both from your point of view and from Neil. Neil didn't know before Saturday that he was.
Yeah, I think he was having a bacon sandwich and a coffee when I phoned him Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So that was good. It's good. He was in there to help Mikey. And it's he enjoyed it. It was great because he got some sandwiches sent down to the change room at 2:00, which you don't normally get. So it's perfect.
Did you ask him or did he volunteer?
No, I asked him. I trust him. He's aside from Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm struggling to think of a more prominent English manager. So it'd be very, very remiss of me not to lean on that experience. Definitely.
You've got Jade now on loan at
Yes.
the moment. How's he getting on? Some successes, some frustrations, no doubt, and presumably he's training with you all the time anyway. What's the latest sort of report, the progress report on?
I think he got a little bit unfortunate because when he first went, he started like a house on fire, and then he got that hamstring injury. He's gone back in. He's been over the last few games.
Yeah.
I think he's still feeling his way back to full fitness. He's clinically fit, but to full fitness. Jaden, as I've spoken about before, Jaden's someone who I see as not the future of Torquay United. That's too much pressure to put on him, but as a big player in Torquay's future, definitely. We think the world of him. And I think that the 2, 3, 4 months that he's going to have at Gloucester, who are a big club in that league in Step 3, which he hasn't played in before, I think will be invaluable for him.
Yeah, at that level, he hasn't played it. So,
No. So I
he
think
came out for Hellenic League, I think.
that's right. Yeah. So I think they're at the top of the league. They're fighting at the right end of the league, and Cookie's a great guy who manages Gloucester. They get good support. It's a good club. They've been in National League North side for a number of years. So he's in a good environment to make that next step into men's football.
No one else on that thing going out? anywhere
Possibly.
at the moment?
Possibly.
You mentioned earlier when you first started talking that the players coming in and players going out is part of football.
Possibly. I mean, it's we can't sit here and have a squad of 21, 22, 23 players. That's pointless. Only 16 get changed on a match day. And also, there's the it's very obvious, Dave, that players who aren't in the squad and who aren't playing, they're going to come and knock on my door, because at the end of the day, football players want to play football, and if they're not playing here, they're going to want to go and play somewhere else. So, as we speak about a lot, recruitment is a never-ending process, as in sometimes trying to get players out. It's a never-ending process. I spend more of my time on the phone doing that probably than anything else, which is, as I've said before, not something I particularly enjoy. It's part of football management.